Hey, good morning, guys. This is Jiganomics TV.
Are you listening?
And got a few tips for casting out, how to cast out for crappie, and a few tips that help me put fish in the bucket. I kind of first, I kind of just learned how to cast out, like mastered it, like maybe a year ago. I used to go fishing with Felix Guy, one of my friends, and also A.j And these guys are like really good at casting. And I remember the first time fishing with Felix Shaw casting out at Okatani, and he was laughing at me because I was losing tackle like back to back. I was getting hung up, losing so many jig heads in the rocks on the water. And he wasn't. He was still catching fish, casting out, bringing his jig back. I didn't see him get hung up not one time. But I knew that I had to learn the game. So kind of passing the game to y'all what I learned over the last year casting out. First off, jig size. I like to go with a 1/16 jig casting out. Any condition. I don't go no heavier. If you want to go heavier with the jig size, just to cast out farther, go with a split shot about 1.5 feet above that jig. You can't go wrong with that. I like to stay at 1/16 because I like that jig. I like how slow it falls. I want it to fall slow, but not too slow where I can't feel it. If I go any lighter than that, I'm not going to feel that jig falling out. And I need to get it out to where I need to catch it. This is especially important for bank fishermen, which is me originally. Fishing on the boat is different, and some of my skills did translate to the boat. But I kind of mastered most of my skills on the bank. So the type of rod that I use is a 9-foot Crappie Max slab grabber, really light. I like to go a smaller jig pole when I'm casting out. I don't like using the 12-foot cast out to cast out with. A lot of people do. It's just not my preference. I like something small where I can feel it and sling it if I need to put pressure on it while I'm throwing out. The fall, very important. You have to know how fast your jig falls. A 1/16 jig, it might fall maybe 2.5 feet per second. Yeah, about 2.5 feet per second. And then you have to know how deep the water is you're fishing. You can find that out with a jig. It don't matter if you've been to the spot or not. Just count how many seconds it takes to get to the bottom. If I'm fishing 10 foot of water, I'm only going to want to drop at least like 8 feet. I want to cover all water columns and then slowly bring it back. Now while it's falling, most of your fish is going to hit. Most of my fish hit. 75% of them hit on the fall. So when they hit the water, falling down. And a lot of times while it's falling, I'll give it 1 or 2 little twitches. While it's, I don't even reel yet. I just let it fall and keep tension on the line and pop it. And maybe pop it again, and that's when I start reeling that pole in, reeling it in. Hook set is really important when it comes to casting out, because you're not bass fishing, okay? You're not pulling them out the weeds. You're not fishing for huge fish. Plus, you have light tackle. Once you feel that slight bump, it's gonna be a super slight bump on the cast. You're gonna set the hook. Don't reel right away. Set the hook to make sure you feel that fish fighting on the end. Dig that hook up in his mouth, and then you start reeling that pole in. And a lot of people, especially when they transition from salt water to fresh water, it's not snapper fishing. You don't have to reel it super fast. It's not like that, because you'll go too fast and you'll miss the fish entirely. So you have to take your time. Hang-ups is your #1 enemy when it comes to casting out. I like the fish structure. If I see a lake or a canal and it has structure and I think it's deep, like maybe structure in the middle of the water that I can cast to, I'm going to cast to it. But you have to work on your accuracy. Also, try to be familiar with the area, how deep the water is. But like I said, you can find that out with your jig pole. Wind. I have a friend I went fishing with. We went to a spot and it was too windy. He wanted to leave. I said, no, don't leave. This is a perfect condition. I caught a lot of fish on windy conditions casting out. When your line on your pole is going sideways like this, not straight to the water, when you got that slack in your rod that you can't control, a lot of specks hit, and I use the wind to my advantage. When I throw out, I won't even jig or reel in yet. I'll let the wind carry my line in the air and slowly move my jig in the water and pop it. I kind of use my line as a sail for my jig. And when I'm using that method, you're not going to feel the bite. You're not going to feel it. You may feel a little thump. You're not going to feel it, but you're going to see your line. With all that slack, you're going to see it jump. Once it jumps, I know for a fact, nothing else is going to make my jig jump in the water, even if I get hung up. It's just going to stop if it get hung up. But a jump, I know that my line has a fish on the end, and I go ahead and set the hook. I like to go 6-pound test when I'm casting out. Some people like to use 8. I want it sensitive enough so I can feel that bite when I'm casting out. And this time of year, my advice to you guys, go find some structure. They're not really in that running water right now. For us down here in Florida, especially. So if you know an area like a big lake or a canal that's super deep, go around bridges, pylons. Look, pylons hold a lot of fish. Anytime you riding around, you see bridges, and especially on a big water system, go fish them pylons, water moving or not. First off, if the water's moving, there are eddies under that bridge. Slow moving, turbulent water. It's fish sitting in there. Even if it's not moving, those fish will still hug those pylons and to stay out the shade. And I'm talking about fish, I mean crappie in particular. Catch a lot of other fish under there too, bluegill, bass, but mainly crappie. So those are my tips for casting out. I hope this information helps y'all. You know, I like to see that what I know helps you guys put fish in the bucket. So leave comments, please. Meanwhile, I'm going to be thinking of other stuff because I have a million things I can post about. Let me know what y'all want to hear. And I'm going to try to keep these videos pumping, man. These how-to videos. And just show you what I know from experience fishing South Florida for the last 20 years. So again, this is A.j Moore. Add me on Facebook. Add Derek Moore on Facebook. And check us out, Jiganomics Outdoors. Check it out.